Well, joining us now is Georgia State University professor, and he's the one who wrote that op-ed, Clark Cunningham. Great to have you on the show. So why do you think Fani Willis should step down?
Good evening. It's a privilege to be interviewed by you, Elizabeth. As I said in that op-ed, I'm not reaching a conclusion at this point about whether or not the motion that's been filed to disqualify her would actually be granted. As you pointed out, the motion as filed is unsubstantiated, although some facts are starting to come out in the media. But rather, my point is that win or lose, as long as this issue is going on, the case is going to be delayed. And there's a big risk to the case that continues as long as District Attorney Willis stays in.
Yeah, you actually say that this accusation of misconduct, which is so far, as you said, unproved against Willis and Wade, you say it threatens the integrity of the case. How so?
Well, the argument that's going to be made by Mr. Roman, who filed the motion, now the former president who's joined it, is going to be that because, number one, they're going to argue that Willis and Wade had a pre-existing romantic relationship before she hired him. Number two, that he's made a great deal of money, over $600,000 as a private contract attorney. Number three, that she's directly benefited from that, from lavish trips. Those are all their arguments. And I think basically their story is going to be, and it's a story that would be very troubling if true, is that they cooked the whole thing up, that they put together a complicated special grand jury, that they put together a complicated indictment, all to make themselves a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to persuade the court, but that's an argument that if it wins, will knock her off the case and her entire office. Everybody in her office has to stop working if she's disqualified, and that really puts the brakes on the case, which is, I think, a disaster for all of us.
Yeah, you're not alone in this. Norm Eisen with the Brookings Institute has said that Nathan Wade should step down immediately to end the controversy. Politico called on Willis to level with the public and to do it fast. Part of the problem here is these allegations are hanging out there. All she's done is go to church and say it's racist to attack Nathan Wade, and that doesn't cut it.
Well, I would agree with that. The motion that was filed by Mr. Sato today on behalf of the former president basically says "me too" to the motion that Mike Roman filed, but then adds events that happened after that motion was filed, specifically referring to that speech she gave on Martin Luther King Day, which I think I'm an expert in legal ethics. It was very ill-advised. Prosecutors, under the Georgia Rules of Professional Conduct, are supposed to minimize out-of-court statements once somebody's indicted, if those statements might put the defendant in a bad light. And boy, in her statements, she accused the defendants of playing the race card, of moving to disqualify Mr. Wade because he was a black man. So Mr. Sato is right to criticize them. I don't know that they result in her disqualification by themselves. But again, I really think the sooner she steps aside, not admitting misconduct necessarily. I mean, she's brought an enormous case with great success up to this point. And I think she could step aside with pride without admitting misconduct and saying, I'm going to do this because it's better for the case, regardless of consequences for me. That's what I am encouraging her to do.
Yeah, she's supposed to answer written questions to the judge in this case by February 2nd. A hearing is scheduled 2 weeks later. That's going to be probably deeply uncomfortable. I mean, I think a lot of people are wondering why wait until February 2nd even to level up with the public. I mean, shouldn't you at least call a press conference and answer the questions today?
Well, I said in my New York Times guest essay, why not step aside before February 2nd? If she steps aside, puts a career prosecutor from her office in charge, Mr. Wade's contract is ended, the motion goes away, because that whole theory that they're prosecuting the case to make money ends if Mr. Wade and she are not directly involved. So at that point, on February 2nd, the career prosecutor say, well, the point's moot.
Yeah.
There's no need to have a hearing. That would be great, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking that, I don't know. And just to be clear, you think this indictment against Trump and all those co-defendants is solid factually and legally sound. So it's not, you don't take issue with the case.
Oh, not at all.
You're taking issue with the prosecutor.
And only now, I think up till now, with maybe one or two exceptions, she's really done an excellent job. She's a very experienced, smart, hardworking prosecutor. I was simply dismayed and astonished when this motion was filed, as I think most of us were.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.